All right, so just because you have your plants in the ground and everything is going doesn't mean there's nothing to do in its early phases of growing. So let's talk about those sort of steps in particular to tomatoes. So this is just one set of what some indeterminate tomatoes look like at this stage. Quite good. We're about two weeks into it, so everything is not only transplanted well, but it's also growing, so no larger issues. But I would say the things that I do at these early stages have really differentiated whether your tomatoes are good plants or great plants. So tomatoes are pretty robust. They will produce, they will be reliable, but I found that the things that you do early on play a key role in whether it turns into a very strong plant. Because at its early phases, you want to concentrate the energy and growth into the top and into the root system. So everything in the middle kind of is draining some of the energy where it needs to be. So the plant looks fine, but there's things that are wrong with the plant right now. So some of these are touching the soil. So there's a number of soil-borne diseases, blight being one of them. So as the soil-borne diseases start growing in strength with the summer heat, it will contact anything that is in contact with the soil, and it will eventually start going up the plant. So these are the things that you want to remove. The middle plant, they've already served their role. So these plants, at least the way I view it, these leaves have already served their role. They're sunflowers, so they were at one time the lead flowers, like they were up here, where they were taking in the sunlight, helping out the growth. But now it's just becoming a shady sort of sunflower, but the plant still has to devote energy to that, when in reality you want to devote the energy up to here. So you want to start removing a lot of this unnecessary energy, where the plant then starts diverting downward and upward. Anything with tomatoes, you have the sucker, so in between the sunflower and the main stem, sometimes you get these suckers. That is another area where energy will be diverted to. It's not to say that those suckers won't produce fruit. They will. I just don't want them to be producing fruit and diverting energy to them now. So you want to remove those sort of things. And though it's great, within 2 weeks you already see nice little flowers. Those are also something that I remove. It will produce fruit onto these things, but it's too early for the fruit. A fruit is a hugely energy consuming process. So I want to be taking off these so all the energy goes elsewhere. So even if you were to have fruit, they're just going to be sitting there probably until August. It's June right now. They're really not going to do much, because that summer heat, when it really starts churning up, that's when the tomatoes start turning colors. When it's not as hot, it's just going to be sitting green for many months, just diverting more energy to where it doesn't need to be. So because of that, I do things to the plant, and I'll do that right now. So I'll go down the line and kind of show you what I do, and then you'll see the end result. So this is what the original plants look like. Nice and bushy, kind of all underneath. You have your leader, and this was the line that we first started discussing, where everything is largely chopped off. So I like to have at this stage my tomato plants looking like palm trees. I want to have a lot of the growth up on top, nothing really in the middle, and everything down beneath. So at this stage it's not too much of an issue, but it's more of an issue later on. But I'm already trying to go to minimize any sort of effect of the blight that comes from the soil. So typically I like to have no leaves below this bottom bar right here. It's about 18 inches up. So everything is clear like that. Some of them are already a little bit hanging lower than that. I'm going to let the plant get a little higher, and then I'm going to chop them off. And specifically with indeterminate tomatoes, I like to have 2 leader stems. So I'm already picking where my leaders are going to be. This is the main stem, and this is one of the suckers. So those 2 will go up like that. I'll just minimize everything just to 2 leaders, just so it doesn't get too crazy in here, and I get a lot more fruit production versus green production. So at this stage, 2 to 3 weeks into my tomato plants, where everything is looking good, I'm doing a significant chop off of that to divert more energy to where it needs to be, top and down, nothing in the middle. And this has helped me generate more fruit with less disease later on in the season.